Good morning, one and all present over here. On behalf of MKES Management and Nagindas Kanwala College, I, Sonali Vatkar, welcome you all to the ICSR sponsored 12 days capacity building program in research methodology, organized by the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Nagindas Kanwala College. Before starting the program, I would like to request the IT team to play the college anthem.
गीत देश जगा सकूं
दे मुझे स्वर भारती दे गीत देश जगा सकूं
दे विधाता ज्ञान वह भारत भविष्य बना सकूं
दे विधाता ज्ञान वह भारत भविष्य बना सकूं
दे
I would like to extend my heartiest congratulations to the Management Director, Dr. Mrs. Ansi Jose Madam. She will be joining us for the valedictory function. I would like to extend my heartiest congratulations to the in-charge principal, Professor Dr. Moshmi Datta, Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Mona Mehta, Adjunct Professor CA Dr. Varsha Inapuri, and the entire team of Nagindas Khanwala College on being awarded A grade in fourth cycle of NAC. It could not happen without the pillars of our college. Next slide. I'll just brief you about the college glimpses. Next slide, next slide. Yes. These are the brief glimpses of our college. We just have launched six new courses. These are the new courses. Bachelor of Sports Management, Honors in Global Sports Management, BBA Honors in Professional Accountancy and Financial Management, BBA Honors in Education Management, BBA Honors in Entrepreneurship, Masters of Sports Management, Global and Sports Management, Masters of Arts in Luxury and Fashion Brand Management. This capacity building program in social science for faculty members will familiarize the researchers with the numerous features, instruments, and steps of performing research across all domains. The subject will be exposed to a variety of study approaches along with the latest technological inputs. Respected dignitaries, please allow me the privilege of presenting before you our inspiring, passionate, loving, and ever smiling Vice Principal and IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Mona Mehta, Madam. Over to you, Madam.
Thank you, Sonali. It is indeed my privilege to be welcoming everybody to this 12-day capacity building program on research methodology. I'd like to start with welcoming Professor Dr. Moshmi Datta, our in-charge principal, for taking out time and always being there for research. An area that man excels in and is very passionate about is research. I think that's why this capacity building program could have. I like to also Dr. Varsha Inapuri, adjunct faculty, who is the keynote speaker today. Ma'am has immense experience in research, and we are delighted, ma'am, to have you for the keynote address today. Welcome, ma'am. All the teaching faculties who have taken out time from their busy schedule and showing how important it is to be a part of research and keep on learning research, we welcome you to Nagindas Khanwala College and to this workshop. Students who have taken out time and want to excel in research, we welcome you too. I think research is a never-ending journey. Every time you do research, you discover something new about not only the topic, but about yourself also. You learn discipline, you learn how to be systematic, you learn how important it is to follow a process. And I think all the resource people arranged for this 12-day workshop will impart you insights into research. I welcome everybody and I request all of you to make the most of this workshop. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam, for your encouraging and inspirational words. I now take this opportunity to introduce our keynote speaker, CA Dr. Varsha Inapuri. She is a distinguished college professor with 34 years experience of teaching accounting to undergraduate and postgraduate students. She is MCom Advanced in Accountancy and Costing from University of Mumbai, FCA Institute of Chartered Accounts of India, PhD in Management from Ascendant University, and a postdoctoral fellow as an international visiting scholar at Fox School of Business. Most important highlights of her academic career are co-authoring textbooks and postdoctoral fellowship in USA. She has co-authored more than 40 textbooks on accountancy, taxation, and auditing. She was awarded prestigious Fulbright Nehru Postdoctoral Research Fellowship for study of IFRS teaching in US in 2012 and 13. She was invited as a keynote speaker in 2013 to address faculty members of Business School of Poland Community College, USA. She was a member of board studies for accountancy of University of Mumbai for the period of June 2011 to June 2016. She is a recognized teacher for post-graduation courses in accounting and recognized teacher for guiding students for PhD in business management for University of Mumbai. She is a fellow member of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India since 1985 and a member of US government sponsored international exchange alumni. She is an adjunct professor. Now I invite CA Dr. Vachra Inapure to deliver the keynote address. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, Sonali, for the kind introduction. And thank you, all the organizing team here, for giving me this opportunity to address the young researchers. I cannot begin without congratulating the new IQAC team, very well led by Dr. Mona Mehta, for arranging this 12-day capacity building program in research management methodology. Importance, need, necessity of research can never be undermined. You are in good hands because you are getting trained at a right time by the right people. At Khandwala College, we give lot of importance to research. You all by now are aware, new education policy also assigns immense weightage to your research skills and research abilities. As an institution, Khandwala College would never be happy being only a teaching institution. We don't even want to be only a degree awarding institution. We want to be an institution known for its research work. To take the name of the institution ahead, it all depends upon you, all the stakeholders, to be involved in a good research work. Research is what propels humanity forward. And what is the research process? It is fueled by curiosity. We get curious, we ask questions and immerse ourselves in discovering everything there is to know. If early civilization hadn't been curious about the dark sky, we wouldn't have known anything about the space. Decades of research has led us to where we are today. Einstein's relativity, Newton's gravity, Marie Curie's work on radioactive materials are some path-breaking works. Question that I always ask myself, am I in their league? No way. Then, does it mean I should not be involved in research? No way. Pure research is always considered great original work, but so is applied research. Should I be worried that I cannot create a new formula, a new product through my work in accountancy? I cannot do that, but with the research, I can tell the authorities which industry did well during the pandemic times, which industry suffered a lot because of the pandemic, and maybe public policies, the rules about subsidies, the rules about concession in the tax, the decisions could be based on such good research. Another question that I always worry about is when I joined academics, I joined to teach accounting and I was a chartered accountant. That was in 80s. Being a chartered accountant was more than sufficient, was considered more than sufficient, and that was the highest degree one could get for understanding accounting. But it took me some time to realize if I want to be in academics, I should also be involved in the research. My CA degree enabled me to understand accountancy, but I needed to know a lot about the research. As a result, in my late 40s, I started working on the PhD. But now, what is the position? PhD is an entry level requirement. PhD is where you start understanding research. PhD is where you get involved in the research, and then after completing your doctorate, you start publishing good work. When I started writing my doctoral thesis, it was a challenge for me, as until then I had developed my style as a textbook writer. I had to really work hard to develop a new style, learn this new skill to be able to produce a thesis. Young students, young researchers, and my fellow colleagues, you have nothing to unlearn. You have every chance of being a good researcher. What did I learn in my period in US? It is very important that you publish good and genuine work. That is where testing for plagiarism comes into picture. It has to be your genuine work. Sometimes there is a shortcut, a temptation to override this assumption, basic assumption in research, but never ever fall prey to that. You have to either publish or you perish. There is a requirement in all the US business schools. Unless you produce two good research papers in an academic year and publish them in grade 1 level of journals, you will not be continued working in that business school in future. I am going to quote the great researcher Albert Einstein, one of the smartest researchers in the history of mankind, what he has to say to the researchers through his quote. He had said, "It is not that I am so smart, but I stay with the question much longer." Nowadays, there are many paths to success, but one of the few similarities of all successful people is persistence. His work was a result of decades and decades of research and experimentation. So, you need to learn this aspect if you want to become a successful researcher. Whenever you give up too early, you are giving up on an opportunity to win. Whenever you feel like giving up on a research project or your PhD dream, take a few minutes, ask yourself why you started in the first place. This genius goes ahead, and the second quote tells us, you don't have to know everything. You just have to know where to find it. In 1921, Einstein was asked about speed of sound, and he replied that he didn't know because he didn't carry such information in his mind if it was readily available in textbooks. Never memorize something that you can look up. At Khandwala College, we take care of this aspect by giving you access to various databases. You can produce best of your research work because we have access to best of the research databases. To implement this in the 21st century, Einstein's advice about you don't have to know everything, you have to know where to find it. Today you have access to information, more information than ever before. You can find answers to most questions through your smartphones within just a few minutes, if not seconds. So, never waste your brain power to memorize information that you can easily store somewhere else and find in just a few seconds. Memorizing lots of information and knowledge reduces your energy level. What you should be instead doing is setting up a digital information management system. Once you have arranged these tools, you will be able to find the data that you need easily. I am sure Sonali is going to take care to see that you all are going to be getting training in the latest database that we have subscribed to in the form of EBSCO host Business Source Elite. This is what I meant to say, that don't waste your energy on knowing what is easily made available. Your expertise should lie in collecting and reclassifying and grouping the best of the information that you have collected. Einstein goes ahead and gives us this important quote wherein he says, a clever person solves a problem, a wise person avoids it. Most researchers feel overwhelmed whenever they face challenges in their experiment. As soon as they find a mistake, they start to look for a solution. Yet, what we should do instead is looking for the root, the cause of the problem, and avoiding it altogether instead of just solving it. Another word of advice from you all by Einstein. You have to learn the rules of the game, and then you have to play better than anyone else. Einstein was an avid reader, learner, and listener. And this quote from him clearly indicates and guides the 21st century to first learn, then execute it perfectly. We should not attempt to be mediocre researchers. Rather, we must learn the craft better than anybody else and then play it better. That is it. Lot of work, lot of research, Einstein seems to be against. What is he quoting next? If A is a success in life, then A equals X plus Y plus Z, where work is X, Y is play, Z is keeping your mouth shut. Even though Einstein had a great work ethics and contributed to the society and modern science in many ways, he didn't forget to have fun and relax. His idea of fun might have been different than most of the people's preferences, yet he was aware that relaxation is at least as important as focused work. But the most surprising part of Einstein's formula for success is keeping your mouth shut. Contrary to most people, Einstein didn't feel the urge to be a constant talker. Prove whatever you want to prove with your work, not by talking about it. I am sure with the help from right people, by instilling this advice that Einstein, the great researcher, gives us, and taking help from the great people who will guide you in this process of research, you, everybody in this August gathering will do well. We have at Khandwala College a very active research cell. We give the research scholars a good practice about presentations by making 6 monthly presentations ready, compulsory, and we also give them a chance for open defense by arranging a viva voce for them before they submit their synopsis. So, taking help is natural. What is more important is you should decide, commit yourself to doing a great research work. Everybody in this institution, director madam, in charge principal, Professor Dr. Moshmi Datta, IQAC coordinator Dr. Mona Mehta, guides who are associated with the research cell are available here to help you. Our management is also kind enough to encourage research by giving the seed money. What we want to see is all of you taking advantage of this. So good luck and best wishes to all future fresh researchers in this August gathering. Thank you very much once again for giving me a chance to speak. Over to you, Sonali.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for such a brief, about the importance of research and how it is important for a research scholar. So we start our workshop. Let me introduce you to the resource person for today's workshop. Who better person than ma'am? Like ma'am is a passionate researcher. This research and ma'am are synonymous with one another. So ma'am had Professor Dr. Moshmi Datta. Ma'am has a degree in geography and a PhD both in geography and management. And ma'am is also a PhD guide. Ma'am has about 27 years of teaching experience with technical expertise in GIS, GPS, and educational technology. Now, if you talk about research pursuit, ma'am has about 3 minor research projects, 2 sponsored by University of Mumbai, 1 by UGC. And 2 major research projects.
Is it necessary? Is it necessary?
Maybe it is necessary because ma'am, your credentials are so.
Okay.
We just short, we'll finish it. Yeah. So 2 major research projects sponsored by ICSSR and Impress, 1 research project by Maharashtra State Commission of Women, 1 industrial consultancy project, and 2 students are currently pursuing PhD and 2 have finished and 4 are pursuing PhD under ma'am. And ma'am, the most important, this April 2022, ma'am has received 3 patents from Government of India. I think it deserves a great round of applause to have a 3 patent. Ma'am has presented paper internationally to Middlesex University, Princeton University, Pennsylvania University, to name a few. Ma'am has been the coordinator of IQAC, UGC add-on courses, BUSA institutional coordinator, the NAC coordinator, management representative for ISO, and ma'am is currently the in-charge principal of national professional bodies, 7 national professional bodies, and annual membership of 1 international body. Ma'am has received numerous awards to name a few: Best Assembled Faculty, Best Researcher Award, Award for Contribution to Research, National Building Award, the Real Superwoman Award, and an excellent IQAC coordinator. So from the credential, you can make it out that ma'am is the best person to start our workshop because she's very passionate about research. And I hope that passion passes on to us and we also gain the knowledge. So ma'am, we are looking forward to gain knowledge from you regarding research. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Sonali. It wasn't required, actually, the introduction. Anyway, at the outset, I'd like to congratulate the IQSC coordinator, because as an IQSC coordinator for Dr. Mona Mehta Madam, I think this is the first program, which is a real good program for research. So I want to congratulate her and her team. At the same time, I would like to congratulate every one of Khandwala family who are there for being accredited with A grade in the 4th cycle, which is really commendable under autonomy. Now, today, I'm starting off with this program. My first lecture is on research introduction and the framework of research proposals. Now, before I start, I'd just like to say a few words. Now, in this platform, we have our young research colleagues, and we have PG students also. Now, for PG students, it is this type of research workshops are extremely important, because you are having, maybe I think all semester 3 students are in, because in semester 3, maybe you're having a small project, but in semester 4, all the PG programs in our college are having the dissertations. So for dissertation, each and every session will be beneficial to you. So it is very beneficial, and that is why it has been, all the PG students are also invited for the program. And for my young colleagues who are there, many of you are doing your PhD, many of you have just completed your PhD. PhD is something secondary in nature. PhD, I consider, is not research at all. When you complete your PhD, it is that time your research avenues start. So I think each and every session, because the Mona Madam has taken care that every facet of research is been included in this capacity building program. So my dear friends, for each and every session will be so very important to you, and I know now you will not keep any stones unturned for doing a project or doing a research paper. That means being involved in research. Number is not important according to me. It is the involvement in research which is important. You cannot force a person to do research. No, you should do research out of love. And I'm sure the outcome of this capacity building program will definitely be your love for research. So with these few words, Sonali, I have to allow me to share the screen. I will be starting with my presentation. Everyone can see my. Yes, everyone can see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now, as I said, we have today the research score. We have the PG students as well as my young research friends. And today I'll be giving a general introduction about what is research, what are the do's and don'ts of research, and then we will go into the framework of research proposals. Nowadays getting a research project has become a part and parcel of an academician's life. So the students might feel that this type of framework is not necessary for you, but I tell you, my dear students, this is also important, because leaving the finance part, the other part will definitely be beneficial for your dissertation part. So today I'm speaking on introduction to research. If every one of you can mute yourself, please. Yeah. Introduction to research and the framework of the research proposal. I just need to. Yes. Now, my flow of presentation will be a few slides and a few words about research and what are the do's and don'ts of research. That is the rules of thumb for research, which you have to remember whether you're doing your PhD or you're doing your dissertation work or you're writing a paper or doing a major research project under the government. These rules of thumb for research is extremely necessary. Then I will shift to the framework of research proposals for funding and then mentioning some of the funding agencies which are available and some common errors which we make. You know, unknowingly we do many errors and that is why we don't get the funds from the government. So we'll be mentioning some common errors. Now the word research. The word research, as I said, has become a part and parcel of a life of an academician. Okay. Now, in simple terms, if you say research is something which you, through research, you seek the truth and you gain knowledge. It is an area, whatever scale you do your research, your outcome of knowledge is immense. And definitely when you get knowledge, it enhances your development. So I was trying to find out every letter. What is the meaning of every letter in that word research? Now research, R. R is nothing but opportunity. When you do your research, maybe not immediately, but with the time to come, you will find that opportunities open up. Definitely, E is for idea. It gives you idea. You make one research paper, you don't have to start with very big thing, with some small problem, with a single problem. You start doing your research work, and you will find that 1001 ideas crop up. So that is E is for idea. At the higher level, when you come out with your discoveries and patents, it is something, it's invention. When you come out with your invention, and those inventions are utility inventions, many companies buy those inventions and you get money out of it. So it is a huge amount of earnings as well. Not for all, only few and at the very, very higher level. Now, the E again starts for development. Definitely it leads to development, as I said. Research is nothing but you come out with some new things. What others have done, you are doing it. It is not called a research. But when maybe your problem is very, very small, but you have found out a unique solution. So you have come out with some innovation at any level. So A, that is called research. So A is for an innovation. Experience, immense. That amount of confidence you earn from a research, it is immense. No other area can give you this confidence and experience. Whenever you do research, what are you doing? You are you're venturing into the world of unknown. When you're venturing into the world of unknown, it definitely raises your curiosity. So C is definitely for curiosity. When you have opportunity, when you get an idea, when at the higher level there are scopes of earnings, there is development, there is innovation, you get in experience and it raises your curiosity. That means what? Everything together brings a growth in you, brings a growth in an academic part of you. So research ultimately leads to growth. That is why maybe research is very, very important as a student, as an academician, as an administrator, or in whichever level you go to. It is the research that gives you confidence. very much required. Not only in the past it was required, it is required now and will be required in future. So, my friends, after understanding this, so when you go venture into research, so in simple words, you can say, what is research? Is it just copying down the facts from books and... Give me a second, please. Hello. Who's this? I cannot do, I'm in a lecture now with the... I'm so sorry. Yeah, when you copy down facts from books and websites, just you take 10 books, either you go to the library or visit the websites, you take 10 books and just copy something, put it into one paragraph. Is it research? No, it is not research. It is whenever you, research is an investigation. Whenever you try to find out something in a systematic manner. Research, nothing can be more systematic than research in this world. So, and for research, you have to be very, very systematic in nature. I'm sure when I will be speaking when I'll be speaking about the framework of the research proposal, you will understand how systematic we are, how every point is so processful. So whenever you're investigating through a process, whenever you're investigating something systematically, it is known as research. You just want to investigate, you just want to learn. Don't think of the results. Don't think what is written in that book and this book. You investigate and try to find out a solution. That is called research. So once we all know what is a research, let us understand the rules of thumb for research. Really, when you're venturing into the world of research, what you have to remember, which is very, very important. Number one, clear, plain style. Always remember, research has to be written. Whenever you're writing something in research, please use simple words. What happens when we copy from several books? You just copy down blindly. You don't understand about the language which is using. So always, research is something very, very original, and never use flowery languages. You should use very clear and simple language. Always remember, my friends, whenever you are doing a research, it is a quality of the research that matters. Two things, whenever I've done any research, I just remember two things. What is my solution? What is my problem? And whether I'm able to find out a solution. So what happens? Research is nothing. There should be problem and solution. But as you're moving to this path from a problem to the solution, you have to go through a process. So this is what is research. So very, very simple language. Only keep in mind the quality of your research paper. Always keep in mind what was your problem and whether you're able to find a solution to that problem or not. If you cannot find a solution to the problem, it is not called a research at all. Now, generally, you will find that in every subject, in every field, there are some jargons used. What are these jargons? Technical language. That means I am coming from the field of geography. If I use some technical words, it's only geographers can understand. A person from management will not be able to understand. My friends, I have to make it very clear here that nowadays researchers are not subject oriented. Although you do your research in the subject you belong to, but the solution is multidisciplinary in nature. That is a new form of research which has come in. So your research should be such which should be beneficial either to the government or to the society. That is why use of jargons or technical languages in your research paper or in your research project or in your PhD, whatever you're doing, should be lesser and lesser. As I was thinking, I was thinking of some jargons which were used by management. Take, for example, chief cook and bottle washer. So as a geographer, my friends, I did not understand. What does this jargon mean? Chief cook and bottle washer. That means a person who is doing multitasking. He or she is doing everything. So the jargon, instead of saying the person is doing multitasking, you just write chief cook and bottle washer. Now, oh God, I did not understand what is the meaning of this. This is a jargon. If you look into some researches or some research papers belonging to politics, and especially politics of the Western world, you will find many a times there is a use of word dark horse. You will find, my God, now in politics, where is a horse is coming, and that's also a dark horse. Dark horse is referred to a candidate who was not expected to win, but he has won the election. He or she is known as a dark horse. So you can understand, we interpret it in a different manner. We don't understand. Pick the low-hanging fruit. Very, very common in management researches. That means you do the work which is the easiest, easiest to accomplish. So just avoid. Sometimes you may not be able to avoid. That's a different issue. But generally, keep in mind that use simple language and less a number of jargons. It will really be beneficial for you as well as for application as well as for the readers. Number 2, active voice. Very, very important. Use direct, clear sentences. Active voices always makes the sentences much more shorter, much more readable, much more easier to understand. Because in research, main thing which you have to remember is clarity and simplicity. That is the main thing. You should be very clear, write in simple language and very, very simple. Take for example, you write, beautiful giraffes roam the savannah. Instead of that, you're writing savannah is roamed by beautiful giraffes. Why itna ghuma fira ki? Please write direct sentences, clear sentences. From your research, one thing should be sure that you have really focused on clarity and simplicity. Number 3, vary the sentence structure. What happens? My papers, my research papers, my projects, my PhD, it is mine. It is mine. I'm really very, very proud of it. Sometimes I read them and I say, oh, how intelligent I am, how well I have written. And I'm sure it must be happening for every one of you who are present here. Our researches are very, very close to our heart, but it may not be so very close to the reviewer's heart. So always, when you write your research paper or your dissertation or your PhD, whatever you do, try to write clear sentences, simple sentences. I've already told you. Active voices have already told you. But vary the length of the sentences. Some sentences may be very short, maybe 1 to 3 words. Some sentences you make it 4 to 9 words. And some sentences you make it more than 10 words. Sometimes in research papers, maybe a paragraph is there, but there is no comma, no full stop. Maybe the researcher was so engrossed in your research. I can understand that we forgot to put comma and full stop. No, that will not do. Because whenever you have varying length of sentences, the interest of the reader goes up. Always, if you have long sentences, what will happen? They might skip out. It is human nature. They might skip out. And so your important, maybe some important conclusion is skipped out, you know. So that is why always remember some short sentences, some medium sentences, and some long sentences. Very, very important. Consistent tenses. Use whenever you're writing a literature review. Literature review means what? The work which has already been done. That means it is past tense. You have to write in past tense. But when you are writing the conclusion, or you're writing the interpretation and analysis of your research, it always has to be present tense. Always use present tense for referring to your study, your paper, never future tense. So for writing review of literature, past tense, all the other parts always present tense and no future tense. Okay, and it should be very clear, the flow should be very, very proper. Just remember the tenses. As I told you, I got a problem. What is that problem? I find my research paper is the best in this world, but it is not so. It is not like that. You know, there are many researchers where, it is boundless. The amount of research they've done is boundless. But, you know, to me, my research is the best. That is why as a researcher, what happens, you know, you sometimes overlook your mistakes. It is very common. Just like a human, it's a human nature. We tend to overlook our mistakes. So you have your friends around you, you have your teachers around you, you have your peers around you, you have the colleagues around you. Always make them read your research paper and take the feedback as a very, very constructive feedback. You know, when I was doing my PhD, I just don't remember how many times my friends used to read my research, and after some time they used to, they really used to avoid me. But whenever I used to meet them, ye chapters are padke dena, see na, my English is proper, no, see na, whether whatever I'm trying to say, it is proper or not. Very, very important. So always get involved in your work, and an outsider reader has to give you the feedback. So my friends, if we go back, 5 things: clear language, no flowery language, no jargons, active voice always, vary the length of sentences, constant tenses, only for review of literature, use past tense, otherwise it is present tense. Somebody else should read the paper. If we really follow this 5 main leads, where half of the research is done. I think I've been very clear to every one of you. If anyone else can give me a feedback, please, whether you're able to hear me properly and to understand me properly. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So now I'm coming to, so I know what is research, and I know when I'm doing a research, you can do it in any manner. But when I'm writing it, what things I should have in mind? There's 5 things I should remember in mind. Now, a time has come when I'm making a research proposal for funding. What is a research proposal for funding? Where you just send a proposal of your research, what you're trying to do for different agencies, so that there can be some money coming in, because research takes money. Research involves a lot of money. So you write to different organizations, government organizations, private organizations, even to our college research cell, who provides you the seed money, so that, but it has to be properly formatted. The flow should be proper, the framework should be proper, so that the agency can fund you. Let us find out what should be the framework of your research proposal which can go through funding. Now, here, one thing you remember, we will not, and I'm sure after this session, every one of you will be ready to write a proposal. But you know, our intention is not good proposal. Our intention is great proposals. Everyone, whoever is giving a proposal for funding is a good proposal. But your proposal should be very different from others. So when your proposal is different from others, it becomes a great proposal. You should pick up a subject worthy to study. You should pick up such a subject which leads to some advancement in your subject, whichever subject you belong to. Or for science subjects and all, it should be application oriented, and never take a very broad topic. Always your research proposal should be very narrow. I always say it is just like it is just like that the Arjuna saw the eyes only of the bird. No, it should be like that. It should be as narrow as that. Okay, sometimes we find researchers based on India. Now, based on India means what? Which part of India you will roam around for your sample work? It is not possible. So always make it a narrow field. So now our journey is starting to make a research proposal, which has to be a great research proposal. Ancient times, writing a research proposal was very easy. Now, as days go by, research is also becoming very, very complicated. This concept of writing a research proposal so that somebody else can fund for your research. And why do you think somebody else is funding? It is not because they want to, very generous to you. It is not like that. Why they are funding? So that whatever your solutions come out from the research can be applied to the society, which can bring development in the society and the country at large. So in the past, it is the Western world that really started this concept of funding for research proposals to the citizens. Now, in the Western world, oak trees are supposed, just like Tulsi in India is supposed to be a very sacred plant, tree. Similarly, oak is considered to be very, very sacred in the Western world. And moreover, oak it symbolizes strength. It symbolizes endurance. It symbolizes knowledge. And what is research? Research also symbolizes knowledge. And oak tree leaf, if you see, there are 7 tips. You can see from the diagram, there are 7 tips in the oak tree, in the oak leaf. So 7 tips means they decided a research proposal should have 7 points. What are those 7 points? Title, introduction, problem statement. Every research, there should be a problem. If there is no problem, then it is not a research. Research objective, review of literature, research methodology, and reference. 7 points. Only 7 points you should write. Give it to the government or non-government agencies, and if they feel it is worthwhile, they will fund you. But now things have become very, very different. Now we have to follow the modern structure. The modern structure consists of 10 points. What are these 10 points? Number 1 is the project title and abstract. Then is introduction and conceptual background if you're taking care of some theory, problem statement, research objectives and hypothesis, review of literature, research methodology, innovativeness, implication and relevance of the proposed study, proposed budget, very, very important, the time frame, the reference, and plagiarism. So this, and I will be just quickly moving into each and every point and what should be included in each point to make a research proposal. Now, if we look into the project title always has, it is a title. It needs to be very, very brief, very, very clear, very, very meaningful. Generally, it should not be more than 15 words, generally. But although the words are limited, but this the title should be very, very meaningful. It should be so meaningful so that by reading the title, the title paints a quick picture about the proposal. By reading the title only, I can understand, yes, this might be there in the proposal. By reading the proposal, I can understand that, yes, this proposal is such which will bring some difference in the society. So let's fund it. Moreover, in your project title, never use complicated words. I believe in simplicity. And you know, my friends, simplicity works wonders in research. Even my research students, my researchers, whatever I've done, now they're very, very simple because they're easy to remember. And project title, you have to be, you know, every time after I write my proposal, I go back to the project title. Why do I do so? Because it is read the most. It is the first thing which you see. So you have to be very, very particular about the title. Let us understand some examples. We came across, excuse me, we came across a title, a study to investigate the attitudes, preferences and practices of employees on using digital media with special reference to HR professionals in corporate settings in developing countries. I don't know how did you find it. I found it to be very, very lengthy. In fact, I was confused whether it is a title or an abstract of the proposal. It should not be so big. It should not be so lengthy at all. So they tried to minimize it. How did they minimize it? Usage of digital media among HR professionals. It was too short. It did not convey anything about where. So you have to mention where you're doing it. So instead of, it should not be too long. At the same time, by cutting it, it should not be so short that it does not, you forget the focus of your research. Suppose you are working in Mumbai. You can say usage of digital media among HR professionals in Mumbai. So I know where, I know about whom, I know about what to study. What to study is usage of digital media, about whom they're studying, HR professionals, and where they're studying in Mumbai. So friends, always ask questions to yourself and then prepare a title. A title has to be short, but it does not become so short that it does not convey anything. Once we are done with the project title, time comes to write the abstract. Now, what is an abstract? An abstract is whatever you write in the proposal, in 10% of that, whatever the writing material is there, in 10% you have to write the abstract. So the abstract generally has the subject area, the objectives. Give me a second. Give me a second, please. Yeah, the subject area, the objectives, the methodology, the expected result. In a proposal, you don't have a result because unless and until you do a research, you cannot have the result. So in a proposal, you're always supposed to write the expected result, resources which you will require. So you have to be again very particular about the abstract which you write. And if you remember that abstract can only be written in third person. We have first person, second person, and third person. A, he, she, it, they. It should always be written in third person. It should always be written, mostly it is written in passive, and it should be written at the end. Why do I say it should be written at the end? Because unless and until you finish the full proposal, you cannot write the abstract. You don't know the objectives, you don't know the methodology, you don't know the expected results, you don't know the resources, the amount of money and manpower you will be required. So abstract, generally you write it at the end. As I'm coming to the main part of the research proposal, the first part has to be introduction. The introduction, what do? background of the study. Okay, explain why your whatever topic you have taken, why this topic was so very important, why this topic needs to be studied, why it is so essential to study. Okay, always write in third person, and your introduction should be such as if you are preparing the readers for the journey of research. You can always say that this is my topic. It may be have studied by so many persons, but still you are taking it. Why you are taking it? Because you are trying to give a new color to it. Maybe you are venturing into the new world to it. So that is why the introduction should be the gentle beginning. Very, very particular about the introduction of your research proposal, because you have to make it interesting in nature. After you write about the introduction, in some subjects you take the help of some theories, some concepts. In that case, in introduction, you will have to write down about conceptual background. It is not compulsory for all the subjects, but for some, especially for science subjects, we take the help of some theories, and these theories makes our research proposal much more clearer. So whenever you are into a science subject, along with introduction, if you're taking care of some theories along with introduction, please do write about the theories about which you will be taking care of. That is the conceptual framework. Most important part, as I said, I have decided the title. I know what to write in the abstract. I have written about the introduction. If I've taken care of some theory, I have added in the introduction, and now I'm coming to the problem. If there is no problem, there is no research. If there is no problem in your area, why to do the research? Why spend so much of your energy and the manpower and the other resources as well as the money of the government? There should be some problem in your research which you are trying to rectify. So problem statement is very, very important. Take, for example, I wish to study about water pollution in the nearby slums. I go there and see there is so much of untreated sewage all across. So I find out that what untreated sewages are there in the slums, and that is why it is causing water pollution. So there is a problem there, and this problem I will write down, and I will say that my project needs to be funded because I will find out a solution how to treat the sewages in the slums of Mumbai, and this will reduce water pollution. So you understood, my friends. In the problem statement, you should write, why are we doing the research? It is just anything you pick up and start doing research. It does not happen like that. There should be a problem. A research always deals with two things, problem and solution. There should be a problem, and in your research, there should be a solution to that problem. So when you have a problem, you can tell the government or whoever is funding that this project is definitely needed. There is a problem and there is a need to solve the problem, and that is why this project needs to be funded. You know, the problem statement is said to be the core of research. It is the heart of the human body. If the heart does not function, all the other parts, all the other organs does not function as well. Similarly, if you do not have a problem, you don't have any research. This is the most excellent section of a proposal. So whenever, my friends, you're doing a dissertation or you're writing a research proposal, you be very, very clear about the problem, what problem you're taking, and see to it, it is really a problem. Then only you go for that research. So now, and whenever you're writing the problem, just try to answer or question several words, like who does the problem affect, whether this problem, so like slum dwellers, untreated sewage in the slum dwellers. So who does the problem affect? The slum dwellers are getting affected. Has it been an issue for a long time? Try to find out. Or it is a newly discovered problem? Try to find out. Take, for example, if we are studying about water pollution, it is a long issue. If you are studying something about COVID, it is a newly discovered problem. Again, you have to find out what researchers has already been done. Okay, now if others have already done and you are doing it, it is a repetition, it is just a copy, it is not a research at all. So you have to find out what researchers has already been done and what solutions has been proposed. So whenever you're writing this problem, you have to be very, very clear. Your problems can deal with anything. It can deal with the theory. It can deal with day-to-day problems. It can deal with innovations. It can be anything. But in your research, you have to identify a problem. If you do not identify a problem, it is not a research at all. So friends, we have the project title. We have the abstract. We have to write the abstract. We know the introduction. If taking care of some theory, we know the conceptual background we have to write. We have identified the problem about which you will be studying. That is the problem statement. Now, from the problem statement, you will have to find out. From the problem statement, you will have to make the objectives. So problem statement and objectives are related to each other. From the problem statement, you will get the objectives. Take, for example, your problem is to, what is the problem? Your problem is to investigate the untreated sewage in the slums of Mumbai. So write down, like write in points. Okay, and whenever you're writing in points, never write to study, to investigate. They're all style of researchers. No one will fund you for you to study. No one will fund you to investigate. They will fund you if you develop something. They will fund you if you solve some problem. So you can write to determine the untreated waste in the slums with slum of Mumbai, to develop a concept or to develop ways by which this untreated waste can be solved. To solve this problem, what steps should be taken? So understood, always the aim and the objective should match with each other. And your objectives should always be in points. And whenever you're making the objective, you should be very, very logical, very important, very specific. You should not write, you're writing a research paper and you have 10 objectives. No, or you have one objective. It should not be too many or too less. When you write an objective, it should not be going pages after pages. It should be sentences. Okay, moderate size sentences, and always make the objective in such a manner so that it is achievable and measurable. Don't make an objective in such a way so that it cannot be measured. So friends, we have the project title, we have the abstract, we have the introduction. If any theories, conceptual background, we have identified the problem, and from the problem we have made the objectives. With the objectives goes the hypothesis. Always there should be a research questions or hypothesis. I think all of you in this platform know about hypothesis. It explains what is expected to occur. It is clear and understandable. It should be testable and measurable. You develop a null hypothesis and an alternate hypothesis, and after working, you find out that which hypothesis is accepted and which one is rejected. And while you're writing the hypothesis, there should be an independent variable and a dependent variable. So friends, we have the project title, we have the abstract, we have the introduction, we have the conceptual background. If you're using any concept, the problem statement, the research objectives, and then with the research objectives, you should write the research question and hypothesis. Next, I come to review of literature. Review of literature is a very, very important part of your research. Whenever you are doing a research, you will have to find out what others have studied. What others have studied, you will not study. Maybe you're studying the different in the same topic, but sometimes dealing with the topic is different. Others have dealt in a different manner, and you are dealing it in a different manner. So review of literature tells us what are the gaps in research. What others have studied, you are not studying. So this is the gap, and that is why whenever there is a gap, that means there is something newness in your research, and that is why you are doing the research. So this review of literature is very, very important part of your proposal. I am not going into the details of literature review because tomorrow also I have been given a session on how to do literature review. So I am not going into the details. Only you should know in your research proposal or your dissertation, literature review has to be there, because it is in the literature review that you identify the gaps in research. So friends, we have the title, which is short, but still it is understandable. You have yet to make the abstract. You have written the introduction. If you have used any concept, you have given the info, you have written about the concept or theory. You have identified the problem which needs to be studied. From the problem, you have identified the objectives. After writing the objectives, the research questions and hypothesis, and then the literature review. After you do your literature review, what you have to do is research methodology. How research methodology explains that how you will fulfill this journey from the problem to solution. How will you move? In which method you will move? The research methodology is a very, very important part of your research. In research methodology, generally we cover 4 points. Number 1 is coverage. If you remember, usage of digital media by HR professionals. I've added 1 point in Mumbai. So always write, if it is possible, the coverage, the area of study. It is very, very important. We as researchers forget that. Okay, but if you make it much more specific, the value of your research goes high. Whenever you're doing a research, you need data. So from what is the source of your data? You can collect data in 2 ways. Secondary data from the library or from the data sources, primary data from the field. And after you collect the data, you have to analyze the data. There are different sessions put in for analysis of data. How will you analyze the data? In Excel, or there are sessions on SPSS also. How will you analyze the data? But this is very, very important. Okay, now I have given one example. I was trying to study about the traffic problems in Mumbai. I was trying to study about the primary data. If you notice here, my friends, I have said roadside survey. So the question comes, why do you want to do a roadside survey? The purpose is to identify existing travel pattern. If I don't go to on the road, I cannot understand the traffic problem, and that is why it was necessary. The question comes, what will be the method used for roadside survey? Questionnaire survey. I will be asking questions to the drivers, to the residents, to the pedestrians, to the shopkeepers, to the street hawkers. So you understand, in your research proposal, everything should be in black and white. Everything should be very, very clear, so that no eyebrows can be raised. And in the finance part, you can easily ask for money. Otherwise, if you just write, we want to do primary survey. What primary survey? Where will you do primary survey? What is the purpose of doing the primary survey? There are 1001 questions. So always try to make tables like this and try to understand that what is the type of survey you are doing, and what is the purpose and what is the method. Take for example, when I was studying about the traffic problems, I wanted to do a traffic count survey. Why traffic count survey? I wanted to find out when the traffic jams are taking place the maximum. Okay, so what did I do? I took 4 different time intervals in each ward: 9 to 10, 1 to 2, 5 to 6 in the weekends, weekdays, and Saturday go 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. So everything is clear. That why do I want to try? It's a primary survey. Why do I want to do a traffic count survey? Because I want to understand the traffic movements. And what is the method? Well, whole day I will not stand. No, I've fixed some time slots. And these time slots we will do. So if whatever you write, you have to be very, very clear. So friends, when you are doing the research methodology, that means you are showing them the procedure of research. So in this procedure of research, 4 points has to be written. That is the coverage, the data source, the data collection, and the data analysis. Friends, I know the title. I have to write the abstract. I've written the introduction. If I've taken help of some theory, I've added the theory. I know the problem. Problem is very important. From the problem, I come to know the research objectives. From the research objectives, I made the hypothesis of question. I also did a review of literature. In review of literature, I found out that whatever topic I am dealing with, maybe others have studied, but they have not studied in the same manner as I will be studying. Maybe somebody has not studied at all. So I find out the gap. And that is why your research is important. Every time when you write a proposal, you have to think in your mind that you have to make the funding agencies realize your research is very, very important. This journey from your problem to convert into solution, you have to go through a process. This process is known as research methodology. Now, your topic should be very, very innovative, very innovative. Okay, but there should be something new in your topic. That is called innovation. Now, take for example, when I was doing the research on traffic congestion, I made the funding agencies realize that I will be solving the problem of traffic congestion in Mumbai by using GIS. I made them understand that with the increasing number of population, there is a need to find out new routes in Mumbai, and my research will help to find out those new routes. So I wanted to make them understand that the solution which I will be providing will be saving time, and this will give you economic productivity. So I made them realize that there is an innovation, there is something new in my research. And whenever you can make the funding agencies understand there is something new, you are through. Your project will be funded. You know, all of us, you don't have to be Newton and sit under the tree to find your innovation. In a small way, even when you're writing a research paper, you have to say that how your paper is different from others. Maybe a single line. Okay, but that will work wonders, because research is something which is synonym with innovativeness. In your research, if you make 100 research papers, in all those 100 research papers, there should be 100 innovations. So some innovation, some small newness should be there in your research. Very important. And with due respect to everyone, we, especially in this part of the world, in the developing world, our researchers are so general that we forget this innovative part. So this innovation is a new concept, and we have to put in our research. If in your proposal, if you do not propose something new, no one will give a single penny to you. So friends, we have the project title. Now, why I'm telling you this again and again, it becomes registers in our mind. project title, abstract I will be making, introduction with the concept if you're using, problem statement, I've identified there is a problem which I'm trying to solve. From the problem, I've made the objective. With the objective, I've written the research question and the hypothesis. I have done the review of literature, although I did not go into detail because tomorrow I already have a session. But in the review of literature, I have identified that there is a gap. Whatever I am doing, no one has done, so I am doing it. Something new, research methodology, it should be very, very proper, and then there is something new. So friends, whenever you are doing something new, that means your research has some relevance. That you have to say, that your research has some impact. Whether it has an impact on the society or it can have an impact on the policy, making, whatever it may be, but it has an impact. Take, for example, when I was making my project on traffic congestion, I always said, I will come out with a policy that will minimize traffic congestion. So you see, so important my research proposal was, because I'm coming out with a policy which will help to minimize the traffic congestion. I am coming out with such outcomes which will solve the problem of the society, of the economy, of the environment. And not only that, I said that my project is pioneer in Greater Mumbai. No one has studied traffic problem by using GIS. Friends, how did I find out that? I did not tell you. I found out from the review of literature. Tomorrow when we do review of literature, you can understand. You can find out that what others have done, you are not doing. What others have not done, you are doing. So you become a pioneer. Every time, these are the new concepts which bring money into it. Your research proposal should be such, it should be innovative, and always it should be having some implication. We are not doing research to keep it inside the cupboard. We are doing research so that it can be beneficial to the society. So you always have to make, right? And when somebody is spending money on you, you have to make it very, very clear, if you're allowed to take up this project, how you will solve the problem of the society. Very, very important. Friends, we have almost completed till implications. Now a very important part comes in, proposed budget. You have to give the budget. You know, friends, you know, some feel that we'll give very less amount. It is wrong. When you are doing such a huge project, when you are taking the example of my traffic problems in Mumbai, I have to go and do primary survey. I'm doing satellite imageries. I have to buy satellite imageries. How can we be minimal amount? You need research staff also. I am not the Sebujana that I'll be doing everything. So I need people to help me out. So I need amount of money for my research field work. I maybe have to buy a computer. I have to buy a hard disk. I have to go and buy some data and contingency, Xerox and all that. And then I have to do some publications. So all this requires money. So every one of you, whenever you are making a research proposal, please do make a proper budget. When we have written the project, and now this time has come when I can easily finalize the project title, I can easily write the abstract. I have the introduction, conceptual background, problem, objective, hypothesis, review of literature, methodology, innovativeness, implication, and the budget also. What is stopping me? Time frame. Always make a very good time frame. You know, you are given a time to complete a project. You know, generally researchers are very forgetful. They keep on doing a single thing, but that does not happen. In the modern age, that does not happen. You are given a prescribed time, and within that time limit, you have to finish the project. So a very good point is Gantt chart. In fact, I use Gantt chart for my daily work as well. Take, for example, if you see the Gantt chart here, It tells you the work and the time. Literature review, I decided I will be doing it in November. Okay. Questionnaire designing, I will start 4 parts means 4 weeks. Questionnaire designing, I decided last week of November, so I will start, which will go till first week of December. Conducting survey, I will do in second and third week of December. Data presentation, I will start from the third week of December. Analyzing data, third and fourth week. So you see, everything is planned. And wherever I do it, I put a tick mark. We are researchers, we are all academicians, we never complete on time. It is very natural. So write down how much is left and how you are trying to tackle it. Making a time schedule, making a plan of work is very, very important as a researcher. So Gantt chart will help you to plan out your projects. It will help you to track your targets. Suppose you're given 2 years, first year you don't do anything. Can you imagine? You will get sleepless nights in the second year. So please, a Gantt chart is a part and parcel of every research you do. And then the references, I think there are sessions on how to write, there are citation cycles and how to write references. You need to write the references well, and definitely plagiarism checking also. We are having a session. I will tell you that whenever you write a proposal, it has to be plagiarism tested. And if it is more than 10%, don't send it to anyone. You will land up into problem. See to it your proposal is 10% and less plagiarism. Otherwise, it is not going to accept, and moreover, you will land up into legal problems as well. So plagiarism is very, very important. So my friends, we have organized our proposals. Yes. Can I get a yes from the organizers or from the...
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes. So we are all thinking when to start our research proposals. When to start? You have already thought? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
You have thought, no? Okay. Now, when you have thought to make a research proposal, you should know the funding agencies. This is mostly for my colleagues, there are many. Finding the right agency is very, very important. Now, you might belong to IT sector. When you're belonging to IT sector, you should find an agency which funds for IT sector. Don't go and give your proposal to Ministry of Population. They will never fund your project. So you should always find out a funding agency which the mission fits with your research. Very, very important. There are international bodies, several international bodies are there, which gives funding. There are ministries which gives funding. There are national bodies which gives funding. There are many. I've just jotted down some. There are some private agencies also, like Ford Foundation and the Tata Institute. They also give funding. Ministries, MOEF, Environment and Forest, they give you funding. Everyone knows about ICSSR. You can look into their websites. They also give funding. ICSSR has now clubbed up with policy making, which comes directly from the Prime Minister's office called Impress. They also give funding, but very rare researchers are funded. So always try to find out the funding agencies which suits your subject. Okay, and always try to do responsible researches. Maybe you do one, that is okay, but that one also should be very transparent and very responsible. Jump into the ocean of research when you're confident. Confidence is very, very important. I always suggest you should have good number of papers in reputed journals and then go for research proposals so that you can handle the project very well. Okay, but even after sending these research proposals, we make various common errors. Some errors we generally make, we don't realize. And that is why even if our proposals are very good, we don't get the funding. Okay, so first thing, as I told you, every agency has a mission. always go by the mission. Just see whether the research topic which you have taken up and the mission of the funding agency is the same. People have a habit, they make one proposal, they give it to a funding agency. If it is not accepted, just take it out, give it to another funding agency. Never do it, because they're all stored in the cloud. Okay, your rewritten proposals will never ever be accepted. So please, if you have not been funded, leave it. Maybe you improvise on that, change the topic. Okay, problem also, something must be wrong with that proposal. No, that is why you are not being funded. Try to find out that and then only give the proposal. Always, whenever you are applying for a research proposal, you are applying for funding, there will be many instructions. Please read the instructions properly. If you miss out any instruction in your proposal, they will never fund you, because they will think, if you cannot handle a proposal, how will you handle a research? So you can see the photograph in my screen, how minutely the researcher is reading the instruction. Please do it. It is very, very essential. Now, you have identified a problem, and always you should think that you are the right person to do the work. Okay, that confidence is necessary. You see the researcher here, the researcher is not confident herself. She is thinking whether her data is correct or not. So don't, and when you are not confident, when you're writing a proposal, that inconfidence is there. It is there in your proposal also. They are all stalwarts who are sitting there and funding you. So always try to be very, very confident about the problem, and you should be confident that you can easily find out a solution to that problem. So confidence is very, very important. Always make sure you find out the right funding agency. Very important. Okay. The agency will always try to know that what is your approach. That is why I said, the problem identification is very important, and why this is important to the research community. And that is why they take, what are your credentials? Suppose you don't have a single paper and you ask for a 10 lakh grant, you will never get. So they ask you, what are your credentials? So my friends, always try to run. Maybe in a year you do 2, but that 2 should be very good research paper. If you're, and I know this academic world is very, very small. So once your name as a researcher goes something wrong in that, no, you will never ever get funding. So you have to be very careful when you're making this proposal. And every time, whenever you're making this proposal, see to it that your research will benefit the society. If it does not benefit the society, you will not be funded. Suppose sometimes a researcher reads it very carefully, but still they have a problem. Whenever you are applying, there you get an email or there is a phone number. Suppose there is a problem, you can contact them. He is called a program officer. You can be very fast in calling them up. But you should be very ready to answer. Suppose he asks you, what are your research objectives? He asks you whether the mission of our agency and your research goes along with it or not. So you should be very careful. You should know about your objectives and problems, and then only you should give him a call or send him by email. Sometimes, there are many questions which you should not ask the program officer. Will you fund my project to research? Who is he? He is no one. There is a group. There is a group of stalwarts who decide that whether your research will be funded or not. So he is just a liaison officer. You should not ask such questions. Or is this a good research topic? What research topic do you think I should work on? What are my odds of being funded? Don't ask any irrelevant question to any program officer. Suppose sometimes, some researchers, we generally get enthusiastic. If I send a copy to the proposal to you, will you tell me how do you think? Do you think my proposal was not funded. See, if I resubmitted, never your project will be funded. Then you ask them, who are the reviewers? Never. So such questions are never to be asked to the program officer of the funding agency. In that case, even if your proposal is our first entry is over, you will never get it. Selecting the topic, and in the research proposal, the way I have told you, you should write it in the same manner, because then you're becoming very, very clear about the research methods. You're becoming very, very clear that whatever you are doing, others have not done. You're becoming clear that your research is very, very significant. So you should always be very, very clear about this research. And moreover, whenever you are doing a research, you should also write what are the facilities available for the research. Take, for example, I want to work on satellite imageries, and where will I work? In the college, and the college does not have a computer, only not a single computer. How do I work? So always write down the facilities which are available. This is for high level researchers. Always build on your strengths. Okay, your proposal should be very, sometimes what happens, whatever is your PhD topic, thoda idhar udhar karke they make a proposal. You should never do it. Never ever do it, because in your credential, the PhD topic thesis is already written. The dissertation which you are doing your MA level, you thoda idhar udhar karke you put a proposal. Never do it. Okay, these will never give you any funding at all. Research, suppose you make a research proposal today and give it next year. You please up to date the research literature search always when you're writing a proposal. So these are very small things, but they do count. So everyone has an idea. Now, every one of you, whoever is present in this platform, can think of going about writing a proposal. Very, very important. Everyone has an idea, but that idea has to come out in paper, which everyone will be able to do it. Only keep in mind, follow the instructions of the funding agencies. And moreover, if I always feel, your proposal should never be rejected just because you didn't follow the instructions. You should read the instructions very, very well. I remember this quote: sometimes rejection in life is redirection. Just because you did not get the direction, your proposal was rejected. Otherwise, your proposal was extremely good. You have followed all the points which I had mentioned. You had written the innovativeness. You had written how it will be beneficial to the society. You have written about the budget. Everything is right. But maybe somewhere you did not read the instructions well, and that is why you have gone wrong. That should not happen. Always some common proposals, as I said, common errors. Sometimes we send it to different agencies. As you belong to IT, you're sending to Ministry of Population. You will never get it. And moreover, sometimes, what happens, we as researchers become very enthusiastic. Maybe I have only 2 research papers and I apply for a project which is of 20 lakhs. You will never get it, because you should have the proper experience to carry on a huge project. So always do small things and then go for the big one. Always see, whenever you're writing a proposal, your grammatical mistakes, even in dissertations, your grammatical mistakes should not be there. Spelling mistake, formula, numbering, simple maths ka error should not be there. That shows that you have not done your proof checking well, which is very, very important. These are very small things, but it matters a lot. Sometimes pages miss out. Figures, you write figure number 1 and then you jump to figure number 3. Where is figure number 2? Tables miss out, signatures miss out. Okay, and sometimes the format which I've showed you, it has to be exactly in that format. You write the formats here and there. It is not done. They are poorly organized. So you cannot do a research in that, people. Moreover, you are taking a proposal of 20 lakhs. You are appointing only one person. So you is one person and another person is one person. How can you do a huge a project like that? So always be very, very practical. Think about it before you send a proposal to the funding. My advice to you will be never rush. Research is something which should be done at pace. Enjoy every bit of your research. So rushing is absolutely no. Don't ask too much money, neither too little money. Never ignore instructions. Don't write everything in your proposal. If you write everything in your proposal, what will you write in your research? So leave something. Keep proper margins. The font should be proper. And moreover, when you're sometimes, they ask you which papers, how many papers have you published. Many times you will find they write a paper and write down submitted but not published. It is a wrong thing. Whenever your paper is published, then only you should bring out to public, otherwise not. Never do that. So these are absolutely no-nos for your research proposals. But what are the yeses? Download complete proposals. See instructions. Read your instructions. Use correct format. Proofreading, very, very important. Everything should be legible. And before submission, again, read it. Follow the instructions very, very carefully. You might take time. You might lose out in one funding agency, but there are many others. But don't lose your reputation. In the small world of research, reputation counts. Your academic research reputation is very important whenever you submit your research. So friends, what are some closing advices? Some of us feel ashamed or embarrassed also about asking money for your research. But this is very important thing. There is nothing wrong if you ask for money. Suppose you are asking for money, what they will do? They will not kill you. They will say no. It is okay. It's okay. You have 1,000 and other funding agencies also who is ready to grant you. So whenever your project, your proposal gets a no, nothing wrong in that. Maybe you are great. They have not understood your research. So what should be your next question? Your next question should be, when is the next grant coming? It is not the end of the line. You have got your experience. You will do better next time. So my flow of presentation was, what was research? What is the rules of thumb for research? 5 points. What should be the framework of a research proposal for funding? What were the funding agencies? And some common errors I wanted to stress, which we generally do. I wish good luck for the preparation of our funding proposals, and thank you very much. Sonali, I'm done.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We will start the Q&A session.
Yeah.
First, participants, if they have any question, they can post it in the chat box, or if they want, they can unmute themselves and ask their questions.
Ma'am, I think it was so extensive that participants have understood everything and they don't have any questions.
Oh, no. I spoke a lot, I think.
Yeah, ma'am, I think so. The concepts are super clear for everyone. That's why we are not getting it.
Ma'am, there is a question from participant Diti Shah. Is it necessary for the topic to be related to our subject?
No. It has to be related to your subject, because they see the experience. When you're giving for your funding, they see the experience which you have. So the experience is always within your subject. And moreover, your expertise also lying within your subject. I belong to geography. If I'm given a research proposal or research on chemistry, maybe I will not be able to deal with it. But there is something called multidisciplinary research also, which you can do. But otherwise, mostly it is from the subject.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask you one thing. Already I have attended one
May I know your
session
name,
regarding.
please? May I know your name, please?
My name is Aman, ma'am.
Yeah, tell me, Aman.
Ma'am, I am doing my master's currently in IT and I'm in my second year. So basically now we might be heading towards for our research projects for the final year, right? So ma'am, I took up one project last year which was related to particular topic and subject. Ma'am, you told that we have to find out some fundamental and like concrete research papers, right? For
Out. Your
Ma'am,
voice-
I'm talking about for heading towards project. You said we have to take up some good research papers before heading towards the project, right?
Yeah, you have to
Ma'am,
know.
there are some topics, like for example, the topic which I took up was literally not matching with the content which was available on the internet.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, sometimes my question was like, how do we actually provide it? Like, okay,
See,
then
I'll
our
tell you.
project is concrete.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I got your question. Take, for example, I'm studying on COVID, something infection of COVID, right? Now, COVID is a virus which has been coming only in 2019, 2020, right? So, if you see the research papers, it was not there. But you can always find out the papers related to it. It cannot happen, Aman, that you cannot find something related to your paper. Maybe not directly, but indirectly related to your paper, you can always find. Did you get me?
Yes, ma'am. I actually found one research paper over there, but ma'am, the spectrum and the topic which I took up was a little bit different, and my approach towards taking up that project was different.
That is a research gap. That is a research gap. So that also you have to mention that maybe the topic which you have taken, it is not a very, it's a not a very researched topic. But that is why you're taking up research papers which are related to it. And moreover, no one else have studied. So there is a gap, and that is why you're studying. See, I told you about the research gap. Did you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
But there should be proofs that you have searched for it. You will search in 2 journals and then one fine day you will say it is not there, that cannot happen. There should be proofs. You should say that which journals you have really gone to, which websites you have gone to. Tomorrow I'll be speaking about Google Scholars, how to use, whether you have gone to these or not. And then only you have to prove it that the research which you are doing has not been done by others.
So, like, I have attended your previous session regarding the research paper. So, ma'am, also you just mentioned it about the Google Scholar. Ma'am, sometimes what happens is Google Scholar is not accurate enough for what I am searching.
Okay, Google Scholar is not accurate. You have the library also. You are not only, if our college library is not accurate, you have the Mumbai University, you have other so many digital libraries available. Somewhere it will be accurate, na? And Google Scholar is very accurate. You have to have patience to search it.
Yeah, ma'am. So is it like
you make it a narrow search, you will get it.
Absolutely. Ma'am, I'm asking, is it the error in the keywords of finding on the Google Scholar or something like that?
And you have to narrow down your results, na? You have to narrow down your results, give the study area, you will find it.
Okay, ma'am.
Try it out tonight. Tomorrow again, we'll talk about Google Scholar. Yes, Aman?
Yes, ma'am. I got my doubts clear. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Aman, for your question. Any more questions from the participants?
Vishaka, I think we can find
I hope that we can proceed to.
If no more questions, then we can proceed to the end of the session.
Thank you, Moshki. Very enlightening session.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to call Ms. Sonali Bhatkar, ma'am, to give a vote of thanks.
Thank you, madam. Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul. On behalf of the organizing committee and the institution, I sincerely thank the resource person and in charge principal, Professor Dr. Moshmi Datta, for enlightening us with her knowledge. Madam, you have explained the topic precisely, and I'm sure that each one of us understood the concept clearly. You have mentioned Gantt chart, which will really help us to plan our research progress. Thank you, Madam. I extend my gratitude to our Honorable Director, Dr. Mrs. Ansi Rose, who always motivate us. I may like to express our sincere thanks to Vice Principal and IQSC Coordinator, Dr. Moona Mehta. I would like to specially appreciate the support extended by the management and ICSSR towards this initiative. On behalf of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Nagindas Khanwala College, I would like to express my gratitude to all the esteemed delegates and all the participants of the workshop for their presence and contribution. Thank you very much for all the patience and support. The we will provide the certificate will be provided to the participants who have attended all the sessions. Tomorrow's session details will be posted in the chat group. Looking forward to see you all on the second day of the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everybody. See you all at 10 tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
And feedback link would be posted at the end of the workshop. And participants are expected to attend a workshop on all 12 days. The attendance would be considered and the certificates will be granted accordingly. Thank you.
Okay,
Looking
ma'am.
forward to close interaction. The topic would be research, design and conceptual framework and review of literature. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being such a great participant.
Thank you, ma'am.